Do you have a relationship with the moon? Did you know that developing a relationship with the moon is a way of developing and strengthening and nurturing a relationship with yourself? Whether you work with the moon for setting intentions or not, have you ever thought about having or developing a relationship with the moon to benefit yourself, independent of your intentions? Developing a relationship with the moon has so many benefits, and there are so many ways to start, develop, and strengthen this relationship that's what this conversation is going to be about. And I as I think about it, I think I'm going to continue doing this, like putting different episodes in the future about ways to do that and different aspects of developing a relationship with the moon and subsequently ourselves. So this conversation or this episode is going to kick off that theme. And the reason I'm bringing it now, I mean, right now I'm recording this on October 12th of 2023. I recently did a presentation. I was part of a conference, and I actually spoke about developing a relationship with the moon. So I just thought I'd carry that into the podcast and have this be one of the places that you can learn about that and different aspects of it. So let's get going. I am Patty. I am the founder here at Blue Moon Manifestations. And I like to say that I take you from creating your vision board to living your vision board by helping you become the person who is living that vision board and all the things that you want to be experiencing and doing. So, like I said, today's topic is why developing a relationship with the moon is beneficial and how also it can help your manifesting. The moon is associated with our emotions, our inner self, how we want to be nurtured, and how we nurture other people. So that's how it connects with also developing a relationship with ourselves, or with yourself and the moon. A fun fact about me and the moon: I have a moon-shaped birthmark on the bottom of one of my toes, and it's a crescent-shaped moon. And an additional layer to that fun fact is that the moon was in the waxing crescent phase on the day that I was born. So I like to say I was chosen to work with the moon with that little birthmark that I have. So let's see. Think about this when you think about a relationship, just in general, or just some concepts to keep in mind. The longest relationship we have in life, in all of our life, is the relationship we have with ourselves. It is quite literally a lifelong relationship. So have you ever thought about that? Have you ever thought about it in that perspective? There may be people in our lives for a good majority of it, our parents or siblings or family, but really ourselves is the only relationship we have that is truly, or the relationship with ourselves is truly the only relationship we have that is a lifelong relationship. So think about being or having or being in a relationship with someone that you don't know very well, or maybe that you don't even like very much. That is what's happening when we don't intentionally work on the relationship and nurture it and identify it and develop the relationship we have with ourselves. Whether you're aware of it or not, the relationship that you have with yourself, that we all have with ourselves, is inescapable. So you may not acknowledge it or be aware of it just because you haven't thought about it before, or this hasn't been brought to your attention, or it's just not a way that you're accustomed to thinking. But really, it's inescapable because it is this lifelong relationship that we have with ourselves. So whether it's a healthy one or not, whether you nurture it or not, And like I said, whether you even acknowledge or are aware of it or not, you're in, let me put it this way, you're in a relationship with yourself. So in order to have a healthy one and nurture it and get the benefits, right? The benefits of being and having a positive and healthy relationship, you need to get to know yourself. We all need to get to know ourselves. The good parts, the parts that we tend to hide away or don't want to acknowledge or face, that we want to keep hidden from other people or even from ourselves. The shadow parts of ourselves. You know, you may have heard that term if you've done any work with the moon. But just like anything else, there's duality. We have the parts of ourselves that we love, and then we have the parts of ourselves that we don't love so much. And I really try not to use the word bad parts of ourselves. They're just challenging, or parts that we don't like or don't feel great about. But the thing is, they're part of us. And just like any relationship where we accept the, less than desirable things about the other person, it really is the same thing with ourselves, acknowledging them, learning how to live with them, maybe learning how to navigate these things better, or improving the way we react to things, or realizing what we can and can't control, right? So all of these things apply to relationships with other people, as well as to this relationship that we have with ourselves. And a bonus or a side, I don't know, a bonus, a good feature, a good benefit of developing and improving and, nurturing a healthy relationship with ourselves by default affects the other relationships we have with other people in a positive way. So that's not really the focus of this episode, but I did want to point it out that it's part of the deal, if you will. It's kind of it goes along with it. Benefiting ourselves and taking care of ourselves and nurturing a relationship with ourselves also has that effect, that positive effect on our external relationships. By getting to know the good and challenging parts of ourselves and how to navigate that, we also learn how to do that in relationships with other people. And in order to do that, in order to acknowledge and even get to know and become aware of both the great and the challenging aspects, we need to get quiet and we need to be with ourselves. And there's many ways to do that, which are some of the things I'll cover in ongoing episodes, but we need to get quiet and intentionally get to know ourselves. And this can be very uncomfortable for a lot of us. It was at first for me, and the reason we can tell, or one of the ways we can tell that it's uncomfortable, is when we fill up our free time, right? When we have free time and we're home alone and you're not someone who wants to typically be alone, what can I go do? What can I, play a game, or what can I involve myself in? What activities can I do? What can I go out and do? Who can I talk to? Instead of just being on our own on purpose. And I don't mean like for lifelong type of thing, just for moments of time, getting to know ourselves, being on our own with ourselves, because that's when our thoughts come up. That's when our emotions come up. That's when things that we don't really want to deal with and address come up, because there is the space for that to happen. There aren't all these external distractions. And so if you catch yourself doing that, it's not a judgment about that. It's simply an awareness. And if you are someone who catches yourself filling up your time or being uncomfortable being on your, when thoughts start to come up and thinking about things, then this is a great place to start to get to know yourself and learn how to do it, and the benefits and all the things that go along with that. It's always about self-awareness and what that awareness leads to. So the moon can help in this process because the moon provides a framework for us to follow. It provides a framework. It has the lunar cycle, the new moon waxing to the full moon, and then the full moon waning back around to the new moon. It's in constant motion. It goes through cycles and phases over and over, which is really what we as humans do also. Because, as I mentioned, the moon is associated with our emotions, our inner self, our desires. Like I said, how we nurture and how we want or feel, or need to be nurtured. Developing a relationship with the moon is one of the best ways to nurture that relationship with yourself. The more you get to know about yourself, the better you are to help other people. And if you are a nurturer by nature, then learning how to nurture yourself, and the best way to do that is how you fill your own cup, so that then you are able to take care of and be there for other people. Additional benefits of developing a relationship with the moon are emotional and spiritual connection, improved mental and emotional well-being, enhancing creativity and intuition, and increased self-awareness. So all these things come as we develop a relationship with the moon and get to know ourselves better as well. And the reason I keep saying that, including this relationship with the moon, like synonymous, or at the same, always talking about the relationship with the moon and the relationship with ourselves, is because all of these things that I talked about, the emotional and spiritual connection, learning and becoming familiar and accepting our shadowy parts, the parts that we don't necessarily love so much, the enhanced creativity and intuition, the increased self-awareness, all these things that I've just mentioned, all of these things have you as the common denominator. And in my life, I am the common denominator of all these things. We are all the center point of our lives and all of the aspects of our lives, right? So by realizing that we are the center of our own universe, and not in an egotistical way, but like we are the center, everything we do affects all aspects of our lives. And so this is part of what led to me developing my manifesting me concept, which is something I'll talk about a little bit later on. And you'll hear me talk about kind of all over the place. That's like my main center point, because we are the center point of our lives. So by focusing on becoming the best version of ourselves on an ongoing basis, we're manifesting ourselves. That's manifesting me. And by default, that then manifests things externally with much less urgency, with much less stress. As far as I'm concerned, it makes it easier to manifest the external things by focusing on ourselves. So I'll get to a little bit more of that later on, but let's keep going. Manifesting your desires is also much easier when you work on developing a relationship with the moon. Let's see. So by working with the moon, it can help us, like I said, get to know ourselves better, as well as our desires. Because a lot of the times I have found, and this is from my own experience as well as with people that I work with, we tend to go for goals or set intentions or, have desires that maybe are what we think we need to have, or what we think we should want. Maybe it's something we've been guided to, or it's just something that has been imprinted on us through society, through our family, through our educational experiences, whatever it is. We a lot of times pick up desires and want to jump on the bandwagon, right? Like that other people's like, oh, they have that, or they're wanting that, and they're having a great life, or they're really enjoying it. Maybe I should want it too. So keeping that in mind, developing this relationship and working with the moon to get to know yourself better helps you identify and get clear on what it is you want and what that looks like. And then you can set amazing intentions that are for the things that you want, how you want to feel, that lead you to taking actions to support that feeling. And then you are just moving through the world as this person, and you start attracting the opportunities, the people, and you're taking actions that align with how you want to feel and the things that you want. So, developing a relationship with the moon also helps your manifesting, as well as, helping you become a better person and work on yourself. And not only that, the moon, along with the zodiac, provide a guide as to the traits and areas of life to work on as we become the person who is attracting and living our desires, because we have the zodiac calendar to follow. And the new moon is in a new zodiac sign every single month. And then the zodiac is a calendar, so it repeats in a cycle, just like the Gregorian calendar. We have January through December every single year. Every single year with the zodiac, we have Aries through Pisces. So it's a calendar and a cycle that repeats. So by following the zodiac and where the new moons and the full moons are, we can check in on these areas. We can check in on the traits. What do we want to amplify? What habits or traits do we want to let go of? And we can do this over and over as we continue up leveling and becoming the next best version of ourselves on an ongoing basis, which is really cool when you start to think about it, that there's intention behind this, or we can use intention to work with these energies and these cycles that we are living anyway, whether we're, doing it and working with them intentionally or not. We're going through these cycles over and over. So becoming the person that has your desires is really my core underlying message of most, or if not all, of the things that I talk to, and ways of doing that. And so how it is that I came up with this manifesting me concept, it was when I realized that by setting intentions that are feelings based for how I want to feel, and then using those feelings as a guide to the actions that I'm going to be taking that support how I want to feel, or help me feel that way, or amplify it, or get back to it, whatever it is, that's part of this process that helped me realize, hey, I am the common denominator. And by focusing on myself, and by making the changes in my life, and not worrying about the external things that I can't control, like timing and other people and what they do and what they think of me or believe or whatever, all that external stuff, focusing on me, how I react to external things, how I think, how I show up in the world, the actions that I take towards the results that I want. That's where this concept of manifesting me was born for me. And the moon is what helped me do that, a big part of it, because this is how I learned, by working through these cycles and learning what this process is of setting intentions and getting clear on what I want. And when I fall off the cycle, getting back into it. And when I, going through this process of, okay, setting intentions, and then I forget what the intention is. And it's all a learning process, but I've been going through this process more intentionally by working with the lunar cycles. And I'm still learning and evolving. And I'm sure that I will be, as long as I live here on Earth, I will be learning more and evolving and changing and adding different layers, or uncovering different layers. And think about that. The moon's been doing that for millennia. It's been up there in the sky, going through its cycles, and one of the coolest things that I think about the moon is that everything and everyone that has existed here on Earth has been touched by that moonlight, right? Or it's that same moon, whether it's ancestors that I'm aware of that I knew, or ancestors that I don't, cultures and people in other places of the world that I'm not even aware of. we all see and have seen the same moon. And that's just one of the coolest things, the coolest concepts for me. And it provides a consistent framework for us to follow. It guides us, it provides that framework. And whether we are consistent with it or semi-consistent with it, or we fall off, it's always there for us to tap into and work with. The moon is free and available to absolutely everybody. So I personally think that's one of the coolest things. So here are some tips for developing a relationship with the moon in regards to journaling. Because like I said, I'm recording this October of 2023, and October is National Journal Writing Month. It's one of 4 National Journal Writing Months throughout the year. So I'm going to talk to you about developing a relationship with the moon in the context of journaling. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, I will be talking about other aspects in future episodes. So if there's aspects that you're curious about or want me to talk about and include in these conversations, the best way to do that is to email me at vision, VISION, at bluemoonmanifestations.com and let me know what aspect or what topic about this or any other topic that you would like me to cover and discuss on the podcast. That's the best way to get that to me. And I would also love to know what your thoughts are, or what your experiences are with the information that you get here on the podcast as well. I love feedback and information. Just like I like asking questions, I like getting feedback and answers to those questions. So for the purposes of journaling and developing a relationship with the moon, one of the easiest ways to start doing that is to, in your journal or planner, or on a wall calendar, if it doesn't already have it, note the daily moon phase, the zodiac sign, and the element that the moon is in. And this is what I do in just like my morning journaling. I write down, do I have it here in front of me? Let's see, I think access it because my journal is not right here on my desk, but the information is available on my phone. So like, for example, this morning I wrote that the moon is in the waning crescent phase today. It's in Virgo, and that it's a earth sign. And now, does that mean I necessarily do something with that every day? No. But it helps me to be aware of the lunar cycle and how, the phases that it's moving through and how it's moving through the elements as well. And then if I choose to, or want to do something with that, it's like, oh, it is, and it's in the waning phase. So maybe, letting things go. It's not an action phase because the new moon is coming up at the end of the week. And so that's going to be the next action phase, if you will. So we're in the waning crescent, letting things go, maybe not being so busy, reflecting on what I've learned this lunar cycle and kind of looking forward to the next lunar cycle. So if my energy is kind of a little less hyper or less active, then maybe that's because I'm also tapped into that waning energy of the moon. So it's just an awareness, just to get in the habit of jotting that down and being aware of where we are in the lunar cycle. You can also track your emotions, your moods, and your energy on a daily basis. And you can do this with a lunar tracker. If that's something that you're familiar with, you can do a search and find that. You also can get access to one in my Manifesting Me with the Moon course. It's a DIY course, and I will put links to that around. But if you have questions about any of those things, feel free to email me, like I said. So you can track your emotions, your mood, and your energy on a daily basis, like I said. And then after about 3 months or so, you can look and see what patterns you see. Like what parts of the lunar cycle you have more energy, when you have less energy. Does it align, if you're a woman who is still having your moon cycle, does it align with that? Where are you feeling your high points and your low points throughout the day and throughout the lunar cycle? You will start to see patterns if you track this and then look at the information, and you will also start to see over time, like over years of time, that it will shift based on different seasons that you are in your life, right? So that's just good information, and it's, good. It's a good habit to get into. If you're looking for habits to start, lunar tracking is a great habit to maybe get into. Look into, whatever the case is, or maybe get back to if you haven't done it for a while. And one of the things that you can do along with, as part of this tracking your emotions and your moods and your energy, is you can ask yourself questions and journal about the responses. And let's see, I have 4 questions here that are pretty general, and you can check it. You can, start with one and work through all 4. You can just use the one that is most relevant on any given moment or at any given day. And they are, how am I feeling? Because we don't always ask ourselves that, or take the time to really check in, and see how we are feeling. How do I want to feel? Is it more of what you have now, what you're feeling now? Do you want to feel differently? In what way do you want to feel differently? And then the third one is, what can I do to feel that way? That's where you start identifying the action steps that you can take. And this is a great question because this is in the moment. Like, what can I do right now to feel that way? And what do I need? And this can be, what do I need emotionally? What do I need physically? What do I need in my life? There could be all sorts of answers that come up to that. So in order, and just the straight questions are, how am I feeling? How do I want to feel? What can I do to feel that way? And what do I need? And see what comes up for you. If you do that for a lunar cycle or longer, just have those handy to check in on. You can also do those mentally, like as you're driving to and from places, or if you're, in a meeting or in line at the grocery store, you can run through these questions and check in on yourself at any given time. And then maybe you start noticing the patterns depending on where the moon is, what phase and what signs and what elements that you are experiencing on a day-to-day basis. You can, of course, journal your new moon intentions and your full moon release, forgiveness, and gratitude. And this can be as simple as jotting down what your intentions are, how you want to feel, and the action steps you're going to take. And then at the full moon, what have you learned? What resistances have you noticed? What stories have you noticed that come up? And writing down your forgiveness list and your gratitude list and what you are releasing. You can also do creative journaling, whether that's moon themed or not. Just get creative, because that is one of the things that the moon can help you do. Tap into your creativity and intuition through that creativity. You can make vision boards with each new moon for how you want to feel, for your intentions, for the associations and traits of that particular zodiac sign. There are just limitless things that you can do. It can be collage. You can find coloring book pages. Creativity, there is no set ways to be creative. I mean, there are known ways, art and dance and exercise, but there is no limit to how you can get creative. And by doing creative things that you're aware of, you will get ideas for new ways and what might be interesting, or things that spark your interest and curiosity by intentionally making time for creativity. So if this type of information interests you, I actually shared several more tips and went a little bit, a little bit of a different perspective, went a little bit more into developing my thoughts on developing the relationship with ourselves via working with the moon. I shared that in this week's newsletter, my email newsletter. And if you're not on my email list, I actually do a video version of my newsletter on YouTube. And my newsletter typically comes out Mondays. Sometimes I miss the mark and I don't get it out till Tuesdays, but I really aim for Mondays. But I send out the email newsletter with a link to my video newsletter, and you can find the video newsletter on my YouTube channel. And in the show notes, if you do want to get on my email list, because I obviously share a lot more frequently with email, with things that are coming up and events and things that I have available, etc. If you do want to get on my email list, there will be a link in the captions or the show notes where you're watching or listening to this. And that link will give you, will automatically give you my Manifesting Songs playlist, which is full of songs that are designed to help you feel like anything is possible and boost your mood, and just like that can do and anything is possible mood and energy. So you can check out my newsletter on email and or on YouTube for the main part of that. And if you're interested in this particular episode that I sent and did earlier this week, just search for, do you have a relationship with the moon? And I will link that here as well, with all the other links in the captions or notes or wherever all that information is found. And you'll get the Manifesting Songs playlist, like I said. So in summary, or in conclusion, developing a relationship with the moon equates to developing and nurturing a relationship with yourself, which is something you may not have considered before. And doing so, even, especially in the uncomfortable parts, or if getting to know yourself is uncomfortable and unfamiliar, the moon provides a framework of doing that. And you can talk to the moon, you can get insights from the moon, there's so many ways of doing that, and so many different, aspects and benefits of this process. And by developing that relationship with ourselves via the moon, we then can become more easily the person who is living our desires. Becoming that person then is the thing that more easily attracts them to us and guides us in the steps and actions to take that make us feel the way we want to feel, and then attracting the things that match the way that we're feeling. So it's just a beautiful process, and how it works all so well together. Let's see. And then where am I at here? Looking at my notes. And if you want to continue exploring, like in real time or even on replay, this concept and your own connection with the moon and with the relationship with yourself and manifesting your desires, I invite you to join me in the Moon Manifesting Rockstars Facebook group or on my YouTube channel, where I do a monthly new moon chat live and a full moon, chat live. And this is where I talk about each month that particular zodiac that full and new moon are in, ways to develop and nurture this relationship based on the traits of that zodiac sign. So for example, in today's October 11th of 2023, and this Saturday, I believe, or Friday, it's Saturday, we have the new moon in Libra. I do believe, make sure I say that correctly. Yes, we have the new moon in Libra. So the live chat this month will be about the, general traits of Libra, activities that you can do to connect with the moon that associate or are connected with Libra, intentions that you can set for how you want to feel. And so it's just a great way to learn a bit more, and in a very relaxed and safe environment, because it's in my group or on my YouTube channel, and you can join live or watch the replays, because the replays stay up. So it is the Moon Manifesting Rockstars Facebook group or the Blue Moon Manifestations YouTube channel. And if you want the dates for those, that is getting on my email list. checking my page, or also my Instagram page kind of shows when they're coming up. So, and in the group. I can't post ahead of time on YouTube because it's simply videos. There's no posting in that aspect, but in the group and on my social media pages or on my email are how to find the dates that those will be. But if you miss them, like I said, the replays will remain available, or always remain available. So thank you guys so much for checking in and tuning in and listening. And I invite you, like I said earlier, to send me feedback about your thoughts and things that you want to hear or learn more about by emailing me at vision, VISION, at bluemoonmanifestations.com. It's all one word and long, but it's bluemoonmanifestations.com. And I encourage you to subscribe and pass this on, or invite people to check this out if you think it is something that they will enjoy and benefit from. So find me on on Instagram or YouTube, and Facebook are my primary places. And I will be doing some lives on those, fairly regularly. So wherever you happen to hang out, I am there usually. Usually I'm there, and those are my three main ones anyway. So that's it. And I will chat with you guys next time. Take care.